All right, so welcome everybody to the College of Business orientation session. My name is Brandon McLeod. I'm one of the academic advisors in the Undergraduate Business Advising Center. We also have Jamie Richards and Maria Lindstrom. Jamie is one of our other advisors and Maria is our coordinator, and they're both in the room. And we'll all be available at the end for any questions that you guys might have. So basically, what are we going to do today? We're going to have basically a shooting for about an hour for the presentation part of this. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer just to get through the material. And then at the end, we'll have a question and answer session. So what are the main reasons that we are wanting you to attend today's session? That's up on the screen right now. So by the time this session is over, we want you to know kind of these four main bullet point basic things. So what the OSE is and how it serves you. The OSE, you'll hear me refer to that quite a bit throughout the presentation, but the OSE stands for the Office of Student Engagement. And so what does the OSE do and how can we serve you in your next 2 to 2.5 years here at Sac State?
Hey Brandon, real quick, we're getting a lot of feedback that there's no audio. A lot of people are not getting audio.
Oh,
so if that's your case, check your audio settings, make sure your volume's turned up. You may need to leave the room and rejoin. That tends to just kind of work sometimes. Just turn it off and back on.
Can you hear me okay, Jamie? Is it
I can hear you
okay?
fine, but we had like 3 or 4 people in the chat saying they have no audio.
Okay.
All right, so for those of you, log in, log back in. Brandon, keep going.
Yep, no problem. Okay, great. So the next thing is important academic policies for business majors. So we are a heavily impacted major, as you probably all know. So we have certain academic policies that other majors at Sac State don't have. So we want to make sure and go over those and make sure that you're clear on those specific policies that will be pertaining to you. We have upper division course requirements for all business majors. Everyone in this room should be conditionally admitted to the business major. So everyone in the room will be considered a business major from here on out. So we'll be primarily focusing on upper division course requirements because that's obviously what you're going to be focusing on over the next couple of years. We will cover lower division requirements because there are some of you that are missing some still, but the majority of the time will be spent on upper division coursework. And then obviously the last thing is what to enroll in your first semester. So you guys are all going to register at about 3 p.m. Today after our session. So we want to make sure that you guys have a list of courses to take. We're not going to give you an exact schedule. We're not going to say, okay, here's your exact schedule. Here are your class times. We're going to give you a list of courses to choose from. And then you guys will go out and kind of create your schedule based on your availability, which classes you want to take. Your concentration will play into it a little bit. But we're going to give you kind of a list of classes to take so you feel comfortable after this session on what to register for. So before we actually get started and dig in, these are the 2 things that we want you to have. So the first one is your new student guidebook. You guys should have access to this in your Canvas for your orientation Canvas. However, Maria will be posting this in the chat, a direct link on our website. So it's a great idea to get this new student guidebook. It's a PDF. It's about it's about 35 pages long. Most of the stuff that we're covering today is in the guidebook. This guidebook is specifically for business students, and it pertains specifically to stuff within the College of Business. So make sure you have access to your guidebook. We'll be referring to it today, but in general, it's just a good thing to have going forward because all of your classes will be listed in there, all of our policies, all of our extra stuff that comes along with the College of Business is all listed in the guidebook. And then the next thing is our business administration review. We call it an OR form for orientation review. We emailed these out to you most likely yesterday. So check your email if you haven't received it yet. For most of you, we will have sent it to your personal email address or kind of whatever you listed when you applied to Sac State as your main contact email. For some of you, that might be your Sac State email, but for the bulk of you, it's probably has gone to your personal email address. And it's a PDF form. It's a 1-page simple form. Just kind of shows you where you're at, shows you your GPA. And then at the bottom in the box, you can see what it looks like on the screen. It gives class suggestions to register for. So if you guys can have that handy as well, that'll help with when I try to explain what classes to take and kind of where you stand in the business major.
Hey, Brandon,
All right.
can I interrupt for a
Yeah.
second?
Yeah.
Some students may not have gotten the OR, so I just don't want you to get confused. You could have gotten a business review, and in the body of your email, it tells you what courses to take. So
yes.
Some may not have the OR.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you may have gotten an OR or you may have gotten a BPR. There's two different forms. They basically cover the same material. They just look slightly different. So look for an OR form or a BPR form. Either one will be fine. All right. So let's move on. This is our Office of Student Engagement staff, our OSE staff. So like I mentioned before, my name's Brandon. I'm one of the advisors. We also have Jamie and Maria in the room. But we also have a bunch of other people that work in our office that aren't direct advisors, but they work in other areas. So working with student clubs, working at our front desk, office coordinators. Stephanie Serrato Newman is one of our other advisors. She's our fourth advisor, and she'll be joining us in just a couple minutes. But we just want you to know the OSE staff. If and when we return to campus, hopefully in the spring, when you physically come into our office, you'll be able to meet the rest of our staff in the OSE. But we just want to make sure that it's not just the advisors here. The OSE encompasses a lot more than just advising. And we'll go into that in just a sec. All right, so what is the College of Business Administration? We are AACSB accredited. You don't have to remember that. Probably the main way that this will affect you is if either anyone in the room or in the session plans on going to grad school. So maybe you want to get an MBA or you want to get a master's in accounting or any type of graduate degree that is under a business umbrella. It's a good thing to come from an undergraduate program that is AACSB accredited, and we are. Not all the CSU business programs are AACSB accredited. Actually, only about 5% of institutions, business programs worldwide, have the accreditation. And a lot goes into that. We have to review or renew this every 5 years. And it's not just about classes, it's about other stuff. It's about the quality of our education, diversity and inclusion, ethics, what we do in our community. There's a lot that goes into being AACSB accredited. And when I get to some of our policies a little bit later on, those are also directly tied to being AACSB accredited. So just keep in mind, if you do plan on going to grad school, it's definitely a good thing to say that you came from an AACSB accredited university, which we are. All right, so who are we? What is the College of Business at Sac State? Like I said, I work in the advising center, the Undergraduate Business Advising Center, but obviously the College of Business is much more than that. We have a lot of different centers and programs. We have the CBA Advisory Council. This is a group of community members that sit on a board and they kind of help make decisions on where the college should go, what the college should be doing in the community, even a little bit of curriculum stuff. There's just a lot of different things that they do. We also have the Center for Small Business. This is a great center if there's someone in the community that is trying to start up their business or needs some sort of business plan or something like that. They can come and get help from our students. And you know, depending on the classes that you take, you might be in a class where you may help with some sort of business plan for a member of the community. We have the Center for Business Analytics, Carlson Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. And we also have the Student Investment Fund. That's the fifth bullet point there. The Student Investment Fund is really interesting, especially if you're doing finance as your concentration. So what it is it's a class that you actually take with a faculty advisor, and you actually manage real money, and you try to grow that money in the stock market. And kind of the whole point of the class is to teach you how that works and how that kind of ties into your degree and your major and your concentration. So if you're interested in that at all, definitely look into that and signing up for it. You will need a prerequisite, so it's not something that you can like jump into right away, but definitely something most of our students will do it like their last year or maybe their last semester in the program. So with all of this talk about our alumni network, let's just see who you guys know that's in the community. I'm gonna do another poll here. So the question is, do you know anyone with a degree from Sac State? And typically you know, a lot of students are from the Sacramento area, so there's a real good chance that you're going to know someone with a degree from Sac State. The largest response is a friend or a work colleague, and right next to it is an immediate family member. Only 11 students so far say that they're the only Hornet that they know. So this has been pretty much the same across all of our orientation sessions. Most students know someone in their kind of immediate vicinity that is a graduate from Sac State. So that's definitely cool. If you stay in the Sacramento area, you're going to be working with graduates from Sac State for sure, and maybe even from the business program. All right, so let's move on. So we have a very student-centric approach in the College of Business. We have kind of a hierarchy of the way things go, so I'll kind of start at the top. We have the Associate Dean for Academic Programs. That office is Dr. Andrei Mikhailichenko is in that office. He is our interim Associate Dean for Academic Programs. So they do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. They do course management, they create the schedule, they assign faculty to teach classes. Their job is to kind of manage like when we should be offering classes. Should we be offering more classes in the evening? Should we have more online classes? Should we be having more classes in the morning? Should we have Friday classes? Things like that. So they do a lot of behind the scenes work. They do any grade corrections. So if a faculty like messes up and gives you the wrong grade, goes through their office and they'll get that fixed. If you have an issue with a faculty member, you can go to the Associate Dean's office and they can help kind of mediate the issue between you and the faculty member. And they enforce our academic policies as well and deal with a lot of our appeals. So once again, mostly behind the scenes stuff. So you've got the Associate Dean for Academic Programs at the top, and then below that, we do have department chairs, and we have 6 different department chairs. Each department chair is in charge of a different area within the college. Now keep in mind, your degree when you graduate is a degree in business administration, but you'll have a concentration in at least one other area. So a concentration in accounting or finance. So that's where the department chairs come into play. So for example, on the screen, you have Dr. Hugh Forsage. He is the department chair for accounting. Accounting is such a large concentration and has so many faculty that we just have a department chair just for accounting. On the other hand, if you look at, let's say Dr. Jay Lee, he does strategy and entrepreneurship. So those encompass more concentrations than just one. And then if you look at Dr. Hao Lin, he does finance, insurance, and real estate. Those are all technically under one concentration. So it just depends on how big the concentration is and how it was broken up. But just keep in mind that there are 6 department chairs. So if you are in the accounting concentration, your department chair would be Dr. Forsage. So you could go to him with questions about the curriculum or questions about class offerings or anything like that. And then you can always go above that and go to the Associate Dean. But the department chairs would be most likely your first point of contact with that type of thing. So once again, Associate Dean, and then below the Associate Dean are 6 department chairs. All right, let's move on here. All right, so Office of Student Engagement. That is the office that we work in, meaning the advisors, and we do a lot more than just advising though. So I'm going to touch on some of the things that the OSE or the Office of Student Engagement does that don't have to do with advising. So we, under the OSE, we run the student clubs, the business student clubs, organizations, and honor societies. So we actually have a ton of different student clubs that are business oriented. We have clubs for most of our concentrations, depending on which one you're in, we most likely will have a club that you could join. We have clubs like Women in Business. We have clubs like Delta Sigma Pi, which is kind of a coeducational business fraternity. Honor societies, we have a bunch of different things. We have the Accounting Society, we have Beta Alpha Psi, which is under the accounting umbrella as well. So we just have a lot of different clubs and organizations that you can join. And even though we're gonna mostly be working remotely and having online classes in the fall, you can still absolutely join a club, organization, or an honor society. if you go to our website, you could probably just Google Sac State College of Business Clubs and it will take you to our website, or you can just go directly to our main website and find it through the navigation bar on the right. But we have a listing of all of our clubs with contact information if you're interested in joining. Especially since we are going to be mostly online in the fall, I would definitely recommend looking into joining a club. It's a great way to meet people, especially given the environment that we're going to be in the fall. You're not going to have much time to make face-to-face conversations with people, meet new people. But if you join a club or an organization, that's a great way, especially since you're all new to Sac State, to meet students with similar interests. We also have internships and job board. On our website, we have a bunch of internships listed. We have a bunch of part-time jobs, on-campus jobs, full-time jobs. We even hire in the Office of Student Engagement. If you're interested in working with us, you can get a hold of us or go to our website. We have a bunch of different stuff. If you are at all interested in an internship, I would really recommend doing that. Maybe not your first semester here at Sac State, as you're getting your feet wet and kind of trying to find a balanced work-life balance, but maybe starting in the spring, definitely check out getting an internship, especially if you're into your concentration and you want to get kind of more experience in that area. An internship is really, really a great way to do that. We also have scholarships and awards. We give out over $100,000 a year in scholarship money. And our scholarships are wide-ranging. They can be merit-based, so based on your GPA. They can be based on your background. They can be based on your interests. There's just so many different scholarships out there that you definitely want to check that out. And just so you're aware, the way it works is the scholarship applications are due in January for the following academic year. So unfortunately for academic year 2020-2021, so fall 2020 and spring 2021, it's too late. But make a note in your calendar for January of next year. Usually it's due in mid to late January. Those will be for the following academic year. Applications will be due in January. So to get scholarship disbursements for fall of 2021 and spring of 2022, you need to get your scholarship applications in by January of 2021. That sounds confusing, but just know that the due date for the scholarships are well before when the money would be dispersed and for the academic year that they're tied to. But if you want more information about our scholarships, you can look in the guidebook or you can go on our website. Two different ways to get that information. We also have free peer tutoring. So for most of our classes, especially the required business courses, both lower division and upper division, we have free tutoring for all of our students. We even have tutoring right now in the summer, and we'll also have tutoring in the fall. The way that the tutors have been doing it, given the situation, is they've been doing it remotely through Zoom. So if you take a class, let's say you enroll in Accounting 111 or Finance 101, and you're really struggling in the class, definitely check out our tutoring. It's free, and they're there most days out of the week. Each tutor has specific days and times that they're there. So your particular tutor for your class may not be 5 days a week, 9 to 5, but they'll probably be there a couple hours, 2 to 3 days a week. So definitely check out our tutoring. Also, one thing to keep in mind with tutoring is it's not necessarily to save you from failing the class. I mean, it can definitely help, but if you want to change your B grade to an A grade, tutoring is also a great way to do that. All of our tutors have to get high grades in their respective classes to even be a tutor. So they're a great resource and can help you raise that grade to a higher level. So just keep that in mind as you're thinking about tutoring. And then we do a bunch of different events. We do lots of different events throughout the semester. We give away free food. We do just a bunch of different things for our students that are outside of the classroom. So I'll go over this in a little bit later, but we have a biz list, which is the way to sign up and be informed about all of our upcoming events and internships and all that stuff. So we'll get to that in just a sec, but you'll definitely want to sign up for that. So you can be the first to know about any potential events that are coming up. And we'll still be doing as many events as we can in the fall, given the situation. There's still things that we can do remotely. So be on the lookout for any of our events that are coming up. All right, so let's keep going. So the Undergraduate Business Advising Center, I had mentioned that before. That's the direct office that I work under, and Maria and Jamie and Stephanie, the four main advisors. So we do the advising portion of what is in the OSE. So we have kind of a one-stop approach to our advising. We do drop-in office hours on Zoom, and those are going to be throughout the summer and also in the fall. Just so you all know, our drop-in hours for the summer are Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And you can find that information on our website, how to get to the link. But we do have drop-in hours every day, Monday through Friday from 9 to 12. We also do appointments for long-term planning. I will say with the appointments, even though we do have appointments throughout the summer, since all of the students in the room are new, we may not be able to do like a full 2-year plan for you because we don't have access to all of your information since you're brand new. Many of you in the room, you don't have your transfer credit evaluation done. We can't tell exactly where you're at with GE. We can definitely talk to you about business courses, especially since you're already in the major. But to get like an exact list of classes that you need and do a full 2-year plan, you may, if you want that done, you may want to wait until the fall semester or later in the summer when all of your coursework has been uploaded and we can get a full view of where you're at academically. But we do have appointments throughout the summer, and we'll have appointments in the fall semester as well, and those will be through Zoom as well. We also have the First Year Focus, Second Year Success program. Stephanie actually runs that, and it won't actually pertain to any student in this room because you all are transfer students, but that is a program for incoming freshmen and students in their second year, so in their sophomore year. So we have a dedicated advisor that works just with first-year students and second-year students at Sac State. We also handle admission to the business program and our whole impaction criteria. So as you know, we're an impacted major. The advisors take the applications, go through them, score them, and then we rank order you based on GPA. So you all have been conditionally admitted in this room to the business major. So you've pretty much passed the admission impaction part. We'll go over any last things that we need in just a couple slides from you. But at this point, you're effectively in the business major. We also can do general education. Like I mentioned before, we may not be able to do full GE advising because you're brand new. Once you've been here a semester or so, then we should be able to do your GE advising as well. We all have a background in GE, so we can do basic GE advising. If it's kind of a tough thing or something doesn't look right, we may refer you to academic advising for a full GE evaluation. And then we also work with students on probation, and we talk about academic standing. If you get on probation, that's not good. You definitely want to reach out to an advisor to see what your options are and what the potential things that could happen if you keep staying on probation. We can talk to you about that for sure. And then we do your graduation applications as well. So when you apply to graduate, we do the major portion of your graduation application, and we approve that portion and then send it over to degree evaluations. So effectively, we'll be your advisor from pretty much today until right up until the very end. Once you have applied to graduate and your graduation semester is coming up, if you have any like last minute questions or just want to make sure you're set to graduate, we probably will refer you to degree evaluations over in Lassen Hall. They are the ones that actually award your degree, and they can answer any questions that you have about, making sure you're ready to graduate and any last classes and making sure that everything's set for your graduation. So if you are very close to your graduation and you've already applied, we will most likely refer you to degree evaluations. So we are the staff advisors. We talk about your classes. We talk about order of classes. We talk about concentrations and what classes you need for your concentration. But we also have faculty advisors. So we have basically a faculty advisor for each concentration that you could potentially choose. Faculty advisors deal more with the career side of things. So if you have a question about a licensure or some sort of thing that would happen after you graduate, your faculty advisor is a much better person to ask than us as staff advisors. Questions like what careers can I pursue with this concentration? Which electives should I take? All of that stuff, like we can't really answer that very well. We don't really know. We're not experts in each concentration. We don't have PhDs in, all of the concentrations like your faculty advisors will. So our faculty advisors are listed on our website. They do change every year for certain ones at least. So you can always check our website to see any faculty advisor changes or contact information for your faculty advisor. They will be able to help you out with questions like CPA, real estate broker's license, certified financial planner, all that stuff would be answered by your faculty advisor. All right, so that's kind of a general overview of what we do in the Undergraduate Business Advising Center. Like I said, we are your advisors pretty much from today all the way through and right up until graduation from Sac State. So we'll be here with you for the next 2 years or so to answer any questions that you have. So the next one is the outline of the business administration major. If you're following along from home, this starts on page 8 of your guidebook. And the way it works is we break it into 2 different areas. So you have your lower division courses, and then you have your upper division courses. Lower division courses is 23 to 24 units, depending on which exact classes you took. And then upper division is broken into 2 sections. You have your major core, 24 units, 8 classes, all required regardless of your concentration. And then the second part of the upper division is your actual concentration courses. That's anywhere from 18 to 24 units, depending on the concentration that you end up choosing. And it would be more, obviously, if you picked up a second concentration. So that's kind of the general outline of the business major. We'll start with the lower division coursework. And this is where you might want to pull out your OR or your BPR, your business program review form. This is where we would have listed any classes that you might be missing or any classes that are in progress. And keep in mind, I didn't mention this earlier, but the OR forms and the BPR forms that you received, for most of you in the room, that information is based on transcripts from around January of this year. So we may not have the full story for you. We only had access to your transcripts mainly through fall 2019. So if you added a class late for spring or you're taking a summer class, there's really no way that we would have known that. So if there's something missing on your OR or your BPR, just know that we didn't necessarily have access to all of your information. We tried to do the best we could with what information we had. So once again, this is on page 8 of your guidebook. This is the lower division list of courses. So the lower division is broken into 2 separate areas. We have our computer literacy first, and then we have our required actual lower division classes. We're in a transition phase with our computer literacy courses. MIS 10, which is Business Applications Spreadsheets, it's basically a 2-unit Excel course. MIS 10 is the new computer literacy course going forward. This class is fairly new. We just offered it last semester for the first time in the spring. This is going to be our computer literacy requirement going forward. We also have MIS 1, MIS 2, and MIS 3. These courses are under the old catalog or area for computer literacy. And these classes are 1 class in Excel, or sorry, 1 class in Word, 1 class in Excel, and 1 class in PowerPoint, and they're each 1 unit. We kind of learned from our faculty and just kind of throughout the years that most students really don't need a class in Word and PowerPoint, but we do require pretty extensive Excel knowledge. So what we did is we're basically transitioning away from MIS 1, 2, and 3 to MIS 10, which is a 2-unit Excel course, because we've just found that that's what students need the most to kind of be successful going forward in the business program. So effective spring 2021 or after spring 2021, we won't be accepting MIS 1, 2, and 3 anymore, and we'll just be accepting MIS 10. In the meantime, we'll accept either MIS 10 or MIS 1, 2, and 3. However, if you have a choice, I would really recommend taking an MIS 10 course or a 2-unit Excel course from a community college. The 2-unit Excel will serve you much better going forward than taking MIS 1, 2, and 3. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're going through. All right, so I also have the picture of Assist, www.assist.org. The assist.org website is great to figure out course equivalencies at community colleges. Most of you are probably familiar with that website, but if you're not, definitely bookmark it in your computer or in your browser. If you are missing any of these lower division courses, they can all be taken at a community college concurrently or over the summer. So you don't necessarily have to take these lower division courses here at Sac State if you don't want to. It is quite a bit cheaper to take them at a community college, and you can use the Assist website for that. So we talked about computer literacy. If you're missing computer literacy, you really should try to take MIS 10 or its equivalent. If you absolutely can't, or it just doesn't work out, you can still technically take MIS 1, 2, and 3. But we recommend taking MIS 10 going forward. The next section is your required lower division courses. This is 21 units or 7 classes. You've got your 2 accountings, you've got your 2 econs, and your business law. Those should all be done by every student in the room. Or maybe you're finishing up one of those this summer. Those are all required for the associate degree for transfer, which we'll get to in just a sec. But those are all 5 of those classes, the accounting through management 10, business law, should be done. The ones that may not be done are Math 24 and Stat 1. In general, we see a lot more students come over without Math 24 than Stat 1, but you may be missing stats or both of these. So these are our 2 math courses. Modern Business Math is Math 24. That class is a business math course, and then Statistics is just your general intro to stats course, Stat 1. All of these courses are required to graduate that you see on the screen. So if you are missing any of these courses, you definitely want to make that your priority either this summer or in the fall to take those. We'll go over kind of the potential bottlenecks that you can go into or you can find yourself in if you don't do all of these classes right away. There are a lot of you in the room that already have all of these done, so you're good to go. But there are still quite a few of the students that are missing some of these. Typically, it's going to be computer literacy, or it's going to be Math 24 or Stat 1, with Math 24 being kind of the one that tends to be missing more. In parentheses, I have ALEX. So for Math 24 and Stat 1, technically the ALEX, it's a intermediate algebra placement test. It's required to enroll in Math 24 or Stat 1. We'll go over this in a little bit later, but there is a way to get around that. You'll have to email the math department if you have like a correct prerequisite done for either of those classes. But just know if you're thinking that you can just register for Math 24 today, you can't, unfortunately, you won't be able to do it yourself. You'll need some help from the math department, but I'll have those instructions in just a couple slides in the future. All right, so once again, kind of synopsis of this page is all of these classes need to be done ASAP if they're not already. These are the most important classes to get done no later than the end of this upcoming fall semester. And if you want to take them at the community college, that's totally fine. Just use the website assist.org and it will tell you the equivalent, whatever community college you put into the search criteria. All right, so let's move on to the next slide. I had mentioned ADT just a couple minutes ago. It stands for Associate Degree for Transfer. This is typically where we get a lot of confusion from students, so I'll try to explain this as best as possible. So if you check if you got an OR form, it will have a checkbox whether or not we need your ADT. Most of the students in the room, you were conditionally admitted to the business program because you were earning an ADT. And you can actually see this. If you go back and look at the acceptance letter that you got from us back in like April, I think it was like mid-April, early to mid-April, you'll see as one of the conditions to stay in the program, for a lot of you, it will have said you need to earn your ADT by spring 2020 or summer 2020. If that is you and you were admitted because you got the ADT, we do need the final degree conferral submitted to us. On the second bullet point there, you can email us a PDF transcript. We do need the ADT conferral on the transcript. So I put a little graphic in here at the bottom. This is what it looks like when your ADT or AST is awarded. This graphic in particular is from Sierra College. Each community college looks a little different, but basically what you're going to be looking for is a major or a plan of business administration transfer. The degree date is the main thing though. So you'll see on this graphic, it says this ADT for this particular student was awarded December 14th of 2019. most of you in the room are going to have a due date, or sorry, a degree conferral date of like May 2020, some date in May. That's typically what we're seeing so far. So we need proof of this in order for you to stay in the business major. Once again, you can find this on your unofficial transcript. There's no hard deadline, but we do need proof before fall 2020. And I just got an email notification, so someone's on the ball sending that to us. So like I said, there's no hard deadline, but we do need proof before the fall semester begins. You basically have till about mid-August to get us this proof. Now, keep in mind that it is only June, I believe, 24th today. So some community colleges will have not posted their ADTs yet for all their students. That's fine. If you go to your unofficial transcript and you can't see any ADT information, or you don't see a degree date or a conferral date, that's okay. Like I said, it's still June. You have the entire month of July, and you still have like the first couple weeks in August to get it posted and get the proof sent to us. So just kind of be on the lookout for this. And as soon as you get the degree posted to your account, send us proof. That's kind of the easiest way for us to get it is for you to email it to us. So I know this is confusing. If you have questions, we can open up the Q&A at the end. But look at the graphic, and that's what you should see on your unofficial transcript once your degree posts. It should look something like that. All right, so let me move on to the next one. So this is going to be our upper division major core courses. So this is on page 9 of your new student guidebook. Since you guys are all technically conditionally admitted to the major, this is what you're going to be focusing on, at least for the fall semester and in the next couple of semesters here at Sac State. These are our upper division major core courses. These are required by all business majors, regardless of your concentration. So if your concentration's accounting and that's all you care about is taking accounting courses, unfortunately, this may not be the degree for you. Your degree, once again, is in business administration. And your concentration would be in whatever you choose. But these 8 courses are required to get your degree from Sac State in business. So for the most part, this is what you're going to be focusing on for your first semester here at Sac State. So I'll just run through the classes real quick. We have DS 101, which is data analysis for managers. At this time, this class is full. So you won't necessarily be able to register for this course today. It does require Math 24 and Stat 1 to be done. So if you transferred in and you don't have Math 24 done and Stats done, then you won't be able to take DS 101 in the fall. We'll get to this in a little bit, but this is kind of the creation of the bottleneck. If you don't have Math and Stats done, you can't take DS. If you scroll down a little bit and look at OPM 101, that requires DS to be taken concurrently. And then if you look at GM 105, it basically requires all of the courses above it to be done. So that is at minimum a 3-semester sequence, potentially a 4-semester sequence if you don't have Math 24 and Stat 1 done. So once again, I'm going to say this a million times, but you really want to have all those lower division courses done no later than this upcoming fall. The next one is HROB 101, Management of Contemporary Organizations. This one has plenty of seats open. Management 102 is Business Communications. This is written communication, not oral communication. So you've already done your kind of like GE lower division speech class. You don't have to do that anymore in the business program, but this is a written communication class. The next one is Finance 101. That's your kind of introduction to business finance class. The next one is MIS 101. There's always a lot of confusion with this class. This one is Computer Information Systems for Management. It is not MIS 1, 2, and 3. It is not MIS 10. It is an upper division business course that is required to graduate. So a lot of students say, oh, I think I have MIS 101 done. I took it at a community college. This is an upper division course. It's most likely, unless you maybe took it at another 4-year university, you don't have it done. And actually, all of these courses are upper division courses. They all need to be done here at Sac State. There's no way you could have done any of these courses at a community college, because community colleges by default are freshman, sophomore level courses, meaning they're lower division. These courses, since they're 100 or higher at Sac State, are considered upper division. So even if you took an intro to marketing, or you took an intro to finance, or you took a business communications course at a community college, it's not going to transfer over as an equivalent to these. It'll transfer over just for like general elective credit, but it won't meet the requirements of anything that you see on the screen right now. So we do get a lot of questions, you know, students think that they have these done, but unless you've taken them at another four-year university that's AACSB accredited, you won't have any of these done. So these will all need to be done here at Sac State in order to graduate. And then we have Marketing 101, that's your Intro to Marketing course. OPM 101, Operations Management. This one is a little weird in the fact that it requires DS 101 to be taken concurrently or beforehand. So if you want to take OPM 101, you have to be co-enrolled in DS 101, which is full at the moment. So it's likely that DS and OPM won't be options for you in the fall, but there's still plenty of other courses to take. And then the last one is GM 105. This is our capstone course. It requires everything above it to be done except for MIS 101. So typically GM 105 is taken during a student's graduation semester. So whenever you end up with your last semester here at Sac State, you'll most likely be taking GM 105 that semester just because it has so many different prerequisites. We typically see students take it at the very end. All right, so once again, this is on page 9 of your guidebook. This is all of the upper division core courses that you would have to take in order to graduate from Sac State. All right, so next up is concentration. So I'm just gonna run another poll. I think I missed a poll, but I'll go to this one. So what concentration do you plan to pursue? We have 10 different concentrations to choose from. And every student, you guys, when you apply to the business program, you've already picked your concentration, but you can always change it in the future if you want. There's no like reapplication, or there's no other criteria that you would have to do to change your concentration. You just basically submit a form. It's pretty easy. So like I said, we have 10 concentrations. There is a star next to business analytics, and these concentrations, just for your information, start on page 11 of the guidebook. But if you look under the business analytics area in the guidebook, there is an error that we didn't catch, unfortunately, before it went to print. So the business analytics concentration requires 21 units, which is 7 classes. It has 3 required courses at the top. And then at the bottom, it has 4 electives that you have to take. Unfortunately, in the guidebook, it's only going to hold you to 9 units, but really it should say 12 units of electives from the list. So make a note if you have any inklings towards doing business analytics. We had 1 student reply that they want to do business analytics, but I have a feeling that's going to change. It's a brand new concentration that's just starting this fall. So I think the word really isn't quite out among students. But if you plan on pursuing business analytics, just make sure, you know, it's 7 classes, 3 required, 4 electives, not 3 electives, like it says in the guidebook. Kind of going through our 10 different concentrations, we have accounting. We had 30% of the respondents say that they're going to do accounting. That's pretty typical. We generally see accounting is our most popular concentration. It's just typically we get about 30 to 40% of our students that want to do accounting. We have business analytics, which I just mentioned. We have entrepreneurship. We have finance. Finance is another weird one because it has 4 tracks within the concentration, or 4 options to choose from. And you can see this in your guidebook, but there's 4 different areas that you can choose to kind of like specialize in within finance. We have just general finance, we have risk management and insurance, we have real estate and land use, and we have financial planning. Those are the 4 different options that you can choose. You have to pick at least one of those options if you choose finance as your concentration. But keep in mind that the finance concentration that's it. Like when you graduate, it's not going to say that you have an option in real estate or a sub-concentration or anything like that. For all intents and purposes, whatever option you choose under finance, your degree is going to be in business administration with a concentration in finance. The next one is general management. We also have international business, human resources and organizational behavior, MIS or management information systems, marketing, and then supply chain management. So we had about 30% of the respondents say accounting, 20% said finance, 15% said general management, 16% said marketing. Those are typically the 4 most popular concentrations. We also have a couple international business, a couple entrepreneurship, a couple MIS, and we have 1 in business analytics, 0 in supply chain. That's pretty typical. All right. So let's move on to our academic policies. So these are on page 29 of your guidebook. You can kind of look to that page for more details on these policies. There's only 3 that we want to go over today. These 3 are kind of the most important ones that we want students to know from day 1 going forward. So the first one is minimum grade requirements. This one's really easy. You need a C- in all of your business courses, whether it's lower division, whether it's upper division, whether it's a concentration course, whether it's a prerequisite lower division class. You need a C- at least in all of your business courses. The only exception to this is Math 24. You do need a C or better in Math 24 for it to count. So we at Sac State, you may not be aware, but we do plus and minus grades. I know most community colleges don't. Most community colleges will just do letter grades straight up, A, B, C, D, F. We do have plus and minuses. So just know if you still need to take Math 24, you're gonna have to get a C or better in that class. And then the rest of the classes, it's just a C- or better. However, you don't wanna get too many C- because a C- is a 1.7 on the GPA scale. So you could technically pass all of your courses, required courses, with a C- and you'd be fine in that regard. But your concentration GPA, your business core GPA would all be below a 2.0. So one or two C- here and there is totally fine. But you don't want to make a habit of just barely passing each course, because it will come to get you in the end when you're close to graduation. So this one is easy, C- in all business courses, a C in Math 24. The next one is repeating courses. You have 3 attempts per course for repeating a course. And that's a lower division business course, that is an upper division core, or even a concentration course. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you take Finance 101 in the fall, and you're gonna take it online because all of our classes are offered online, and you end up getting an F. You just weren't prepared for a high level course like that to be taught online, didn't get along with the professor, didn't like the professor's teaching style, whatever, you got an F, that's fine. That's 1 attempt. So you have 2 more. So you repeat the class in the spring of 2021. You do a little bit better, you get a D. That unfortunately is still below a C-. That's not a passing grade for a class. So you've got 2 attempts of a required course and you're on your 3rd attempt. Let's say you take that 3rd attempt over the summer of 2021. Now you find yourself in a situation where it's a 6-week course, it's accelerated, and you just can't keep up, and you end up getting another F. That would be 3 attempts of a required course without a passing grade. If that happens, we do have to remove you from the business major completely, no matter where you're at, if you're just starting out or if you're really close to graduation. And there's no appeal for this. It's just one of our policies. There's no appeal. You just have to be pulled from the business major, and you'll have to start over with another major effectively. So with that said, if you find yourself in a situation where you're, definitely if you're on your 3rd attempt of a required course, or any business course for that matter, talk to us. There's things that we can do. We can talk to you about dropping the class. We can talk to you about switching your concentration. We can talk to you about a variety of different things that we can do to kind of avoid this 3 attempt issue. Because once you hit that 3rd attempt without a passing grade, our hands are tied and we have to remove you from the program. So just keep that in mind as you're going through. If you find yourself on a 3rd attempt of a course, contact an advisor for sure. Then the last policy that we want to go over is our 10-year currency of knowledge policy. This one's pretty easy. It's basically, you just have to graduate within 10 years of starting at Sac State. So if you are going to start in the fall of 2020, which is the upcoming semester, and you're going to take upper division business courses, you have to graduate by fall of 2030. So you have to graduate in 10 years. Seems pretty simple. Most of the students in the room, probably all of the students in the room will graduate before 20 years, but there is that occasional student that has to drop out, family issues, a work change or something like that. Just know that the clock does start ticking in the fall of 2020, and it doesn't stop if you stop out of Sac State. So you have 10 years from your 1st semester to graduate from Sac State. Once again, these are all on page 29 of the guidebook. So just keep that in mind. fall 2030 is our target graduation date. Actually, it's much earlier than that, but that's the longest that you can go without having to repeat any upper division business courses. Okay, so that is the end of the policy section. The next section is kind of devoted to your fall registration. So once again, there's kind of a hierarchy of the classes that you want to be focusing on. And starting at the top, you want to prioritize any missing lower division business courses. And once again, you can refer to your OR form or your BPR form. In the bottom of both of those forms, we will give you suggestions of classes to take. So if you're missing MIS 10 or Math 24 or Stat 1, you want to prioritize taking those classes first. There are community colleges in the area and all over the state that have late start summer courses. So if you want to try to get maybe one of those done in July, August, look around on Assist and then look at the specific community. If you find a class that is on Assist that looks like you can take it, go to that community college's website and see what the offerings are for their summer classes. If you find an equivalent to Math 24 over the summer that starts like July 6th, great. You'll have that class done before you even start at Sac State. That would be our preference. Obviously, that's difficult with summer and with the class potentially starting in the next 2 weeks. But once again, you just want to prioritize any of those courses. If you are planning on enrolling in Math 24 and or Stat 1 here at Sac State in the fall, I'd mentioned this before, but you'll have to email the math department, and their email address is on the screen. It's math-01@csus.edu. What they're going to be looking for is that you have basically an equivalent course already done. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you just need Math 24, but you've already taken Stat 1. You can email the math department, attach your unofficial transcripts, put your student ID number in the email, and then give them your first and second section choice of whatever class you're trying to take, whether it's Math 24 or Stat 1. And they should be able to override the ALEX requirement, the placement test requirement, and put you into the Math 24 or Stat 1 that you want. If you are coming in, I don't think there's anyone in the room that doesn't have Math 24 and Stat at least done. But basically what the math department's looking for is that you have an equivalent course already done, and then they'll waive the ALEX requirement. So most of you in the room probably have stats done, but you may be missing Math 24. In that case, just email the math department with that information, and they'll do their best to get you enrolled. In previous orientation sessions, we've had really good feedback from students saying that the math department gets back to them within 30 minutes or so. So there's a real good chance you could get this taken care of today and get enrolled in Math 24 or Stat 1 if you are missing either of those courses. And then once again, just a reminder, you can take lower division courses concurrently at a local community college. You can use the website assist.org. So if you don't want to take Math 24 here or Stat 1, you can take it at your community college or any community college for that matter, as long as it's on Assist and it's an equivalent course. A lot of students think that once you start at Sac State, you can't go back to your community college. That's not true. You can definitely take courses concurrently at a community college. Now, whether or not you have a registration appointment at your community college, you would have to check with them, because a lot of students will, especially if you got a degree from your community college and you're done with them, in their eyes, they may not have activated you for the fall semester. So you may have to contact your community college to get a registration appointment. Okay, so going off the hierarchy thing, we've got our lower division courses, and then next is our business core courses. So these are courses like HROB 101, Management 102, Finance 101, Marketing 101, and MIS 101. These are all courses that are available, have plenty of seats, and really should be what you're targeting for your schedule for the fall semester. They're all required, so don't feel like any of this is a waste. Every single class that we are listing is required to graduate from Sac State with a business degree. So check out the sections for those 5 101 courses, or the 4 101s in Management 102. Like I said, there's plenty of seats in those classes. And then kind of last on the hierarchy, and this is kind of from our point of view, is your upper division GE. So you all should have learned earlier today that you have at least 3 upper division GEs to take here at Sac State. So don't forget that you have that as an option. There's a lot of GE classes that are out there and that are still open that you can take. So if you want to take like 3 business courses and 1 GE, that would be a great idea. That is kind of what we would prefer that you do. Having a mixed schedule like that is always good. You don't want to overload on GE, and you don't necessarily want to overload on all business courses if you can avoid it. And then I put in a graphic just of what the class search page looks like. A lot of you came from community colleges that use a similar system, but our class search is pretty advanced, and you can search down to like specific details like time of day, certain days. You can even search by professor if you want to. You can search by GE area. There's a pretty powerful search engine for our classes here at Sac State. All right, so this is kind of a general overview of what we want you to do for fall. I'll have a couple more suggestions in the next couple of slides. But once again, refer to your OR form or your BPR form, because that will be individually tailored to you based on your concentration, based on your background, based on what lower division classes you already have done. So I had mentioned before that there's a bottleneck, and this is kind of the reason that we want you to try to get Math 24 and Stat 1 done before the end of the fall semester. Math 24 and Stat 1 are required before DS 101, which is itself a co-requisite or a prerequisite, depending on when you take it, to OPM 101. And then OPM and DS are prereqs to GM 105. And then certain other concentration courses, like your data analytics courses, if you're doing that concentration. GM 170 is required for general management. Certain supply chain courses, if you're going that route, require OPM 101. So you don't want to get caught in a situation where you delay your math and stats. I've seen students get in that situation, and what it ends up doing is they have about 5 or 6 classes left to graduate, and it's going to take them 3 semesters to do that. So they're just here way longer than they should be, paying a lot more money for a lot less class. So you definitely want to get Math 24 and Stat 1 done as soon as possible to avoid this bottleneck situation that can actually happen. All right, the next one is concentration-specific advice. So everyone in the room has their specific concentration that they've already chosen. Once again, you can always switch. There's a form on our website that you can get to do that. So kind of starting at the top, I know we have a lot of accounting students in the room. We really want you to enroll in Accounting 111. That's your intermediate Accounting 1. And once again, just like the upper division core courses, you may have taken intermediate Accounting 1 already at a community college, but it's going to be lower division. So you'll still have to take these courses here at Sac State. Accounting 111 has plenty of seats in it, so go ahead and enroll in that. That's really important for accounting students because it's kind of your stepping stone accounting course. Without Accounting 111, there's not much else you can take in the accounting concentration, so you really want to try to take that this semester. We also have seats in Accounting 121 or 171 as well. So if you want to take an additional accounting course, consider taking cost accounting, which is 121, or hey, Jamie, Maria, did the screen go black? No? Okay. Oh.
No, you could.
You did cut out for a minute, though, I think.
Okay, sorry. Let me go back. That was weird. Sorry, my screen went black and I freaked out for a sec. Okay, so accounting students, you definitely want to do 111 and then consider taking cost accounting, which is 121, or tax. We don't recommend you take more than 2 accounting classes your first semester. If you take 3 accounting classes, that's really a lot. We would not recommend that. So definitely take Accounting 111. And if you want to take an additional accounting course, consider 121 or 171. MIS students, so if you're in the MIS concentration, consider taking MIS 15 and MIS 140, or MIS 15 or MIS 140. Those courses, neither of them have prerequisites, so you can enroll in those right away. MIS 15 is a weird one. You may have credit for this from the community college because technically it is a lower division course. So if you have an intro to like Visual Basic programming or object-oriented programming, you may have credit for MIS 15. You can check with us. But once again, this is only for MIS concentrations. So if you are in that concentration, consider taking MIS 15 and or MIS 140. If you're in entrepreneurship concentration, there are seats still in Entrepreneurship 189. That is a required course for the concentration, and it does have some seats left in it. So if you want to get your toes wet in an actual entrepreneurship course, you can consider taking that your first semester here. Any international business students, I think there were just a couple. We do have IBIZ 180. This is a fairly new course. It's in the elective area for international business. So if you are interested in taking an international business course and that's your concentration, there's plenty of seats in IBIZ 180. So definitely consider taking that one. Finance 138 is a finance elective course. It's an introduction to risk management and insurance. And that's an option for finance concentrations, entrepreneurship concentrations as an elective, and general management concentrations as an elective as well. So if you're looking for an additional course just to kind of throw in your bin of courses that you're looking at to take for the fall, and you're in finance, entrepreneurship, or general management as a concentration, definitely consider taking Finance 138. And then the sixth bullet point is just kind of a catch-all. So we want you to take your respective 101 course if that's in your concentration. So if you're a finance concentration, you absolutely want to take Finance 101. If you're a marketing concentration, you absolutely want to take Marketing 101, et cetera. So there's like HROB 101 if you're doing human resources. There's MIS 101 if you're doing management information systems as your concentration. So try your hardest to take your 101, because the 101 for your specific concentration is a gateway course. It's going to open up a lot for the spring and beyond. So if you can take your 101 in the fall, it's going to make your scheduling after the fall that much easier. And then just in general, pay attention to your prerequisite sequencing in your guidebook. So that's pages 11 to 23. There are, all of your courses are listed for each concentration on that actual range of pages in your guidebook. So this is kind of not the end of the presentation, but the end of the class selection suggestion area. So we've talked about lower division business courses. We've talked about upper division business core courses. We've talked about concentration specific advice. We've talked about GE. All of those are in play for what you're going to be taking in the fall. And remember the hierarchy. You want to focus on lower division business courses first, then business core. Don't forget about GE, and then don't forget about starting your concentration courses as well. Once again, refer to your OR or your BPR, and we'll have more information there that's kind of specific for you. So this page is dedicated to like registration tips and tricks. Just some things that we want to share with you. We've all been advisors for many years, so we've kind of seen what students do to get into trouble with registration, and what students do to kind of help themselves and have the best registration process that they can have or experience. So pay attention to your priority registration date. Everyone's going to be registering today around 3 p.m. So this doesn't apply to this semester, but going forward, you all will have a registration appointment basically given to you. So for the spring, you'll have it given to you in the month of November. Usually it comes at about mid-November. And it will have a date and a time, and it will say you are eligible to register at November 30th or December 2nd at 2 p.m. So make sure and pay attention to the actual date and also the actual time of registration. Because if you miss even just an hour, a lot of seats will fill up. So you really want to be on 15 minutes before your registration period goes live, so you can make sure to get all those classes that you need. Watch out for registration holds and prerequisites. So you all, if you check your student center right now in the upper right-hand corner, you will all have a registration hold from orientation. That's going to go away about 3 p.m. today. But keep an eye out for any other registration holds that pop up. There are some of you that may have an additional registration hold even right now that's separate from the orientation, and that's going to prevent you from registering for your classes today. And those registration holds can really pop up at any time, so always keep an eye on that. Any department at class or any department at Sac State can issue a registration hold to you. So, the registration hold may come from a variety of different offices on campus. So you want to check on the details of the registration hold. If you click on the details, it usually has instructions on how to get the hold removed or who to contact or what to do to get the hold removed. So that's just something to keep in mind as you're going forward. The third bullet point is check back during late registration. That's going to be August 10th of this year. What's going to happen is you're obviously going to register today. Registration for new transfer students will be shut down at the end of, I believe, the end of this week, but definitely by the end of the month. And then you won't be able to register at all for the month of July. On August 10th, their registration will reopen, and you'll be able to do schedule adjustment at that time. So like I mentioned before, DS 101 is full right now, but if you check back on August 10th, there's a good chance some spots will open up, because that is when all students, including all of our continuing students, can log back in and do their schedule adjustments. So you get a lot of students dropping a bunch of classes. Maybe they registered for 18 units and they're having second thoughts and they drop down to 12. There's a lot of different reasons that students will do their schedule adjustment, but all of our continuing students are locked out until August 10th, and you'll be locked out until August 10th, starting at the end of this week. So check back on that date. There's a lot of movement, and if you see a class that's full right now, there's a good chance that seats will be open for the class come August 10th. So definitely put that in your calendar and check back on registration if you don't get your exact schedule that you want today. The next one is pay your fees on time. If you don't pay your fees, you do get dropped for not payment, or for not paying your fees, and they will drop you from all of your courses without any questions asked. They just do it, and you'll have to try to get back into your classes, which is very, very difficult. A lot of students in the room have a financial aid fee deferment, so you don't have to pay any fees until early to mid-September. That's great. If you're not on financial aid, I believe you have about 2 weeks to pay your fees. So definitely be on top of that and pay your fees on time, or else you get dropped. And you would probably get dropped in July, which means you have no access to registration, which means you would have to wait until August 10th to try to get any of your classes back. So definitely pay your fees on time. The other one is be flexible. A lot of students want to take Tuesday, Thursday classes from 9 to 12 and then be done and only have class 2 days a week. That can happen, but especially given that we're so late into the summer or the registration period for fall, there's a good chance that you're going to be having classes 4 days a week, maybe even 5 days a week. So you really want to be flexible with your schedule, especially this first semester, because you're at orientation and registering towards the end. A lot of the classes have been filled, but there are still quite a few that have seats open. So just be flexible with your schedule. If you have to come 3, 4, 5 days a week to class, that just might be something that you have to do this first semester. But try to be as flexible as you can with your schedule. Crashing classes is another thing that you can do. So even though a class may be full, and the way a class is represented as full when you're searching is a blue square, even if it has a blue square, it doesn't mean that you absolutely cannot get into the class. You may be able to email the professor and see if you can crash the course. So if the class has a cap of 40 students, maybe the professor will take 2 or 3 more. It's totally up to the professor. It's their prerogative if they want to add additional students. Some professors will just straight up say no, and that's fine. You can just move on to the next one. But some professors will accept you into the class and over-enroll the class by a couple students. So it can never hurt to email the professor if you really want a class that's full and see if you can crash. Meet with your advisor before the rush. So our rush periods are basically mid-November to mid-December and mid-April to like mid-May. Those are the 2 registration periods for the following semesters. So if you wait till then to meet with us, there's going to be a long line. Meet with us beforehand. Meet with us in the month of October, in the month of September, in the month of January, in the month of February. That's a much better time for us. We're not as busy, and we'll be able to advise you in a better way and not feel like it's rushed and we have to kind of kick you out because we've got 20 students waiting for the same types of questions. So meet with your advisor before the rush if you can. And then obviously ask questions. Be better safe than sorry. Please ask us questions if you're not sure on something. And like I said, we'll have a Q&A at the end of this, and we'll even have advising hours afterwards as well. So if you have a question, please feel free to ask us. That's what we're here for. Okay, we're almost at the end. So I am going to do another poll here. So I am going to ask you what your challenges were. So what's been your biggest challenge so far in college in general, not necessarily here at Sac State, but just with your community college experience or your previous college experience? Go ahead and pick the one that you think most resembles the biggest challenge that you've had so far. So we're getting a lot of responses for balancing school with work and family. That's definitely tends to be, yeah, it's over 50%. Balancing school with work and family. A couple students challenges with registration, lack of availability of classes. Hopefully that won't be an issue today. We do have quite a few sections that are open. Taking classes that you don't need. We've got 14 people that said that. That's what we're here for as advisors. We will tell you if you need to take a class or not. So check with us. Deciding on a major. You're in the business major now, and you at this point you kind of want to figure out your concentration. We can kind of help you walk through that and make some choices about that. But yeah, interesting. So by far it's balancing school with work and family. That's definitely been the biggest challenge so far for this group of students.
Real quick, Brandon, we have a couple people raising their hands in the participants. Yeah. You're welcome to ask a question in the chat, but we are going to have Q&A at the end. So we're not stopping the presentation for individual questions right now. Yeah. But feel free to ask your questions in the chat.
I promise, I'm almost done. Just give me about 5 more minutes. Workload, that's kind of a big thing, especially with the fall being online, primarily online only. Your workload is really going to affect how many units you take and kind of how you approach the fall semester. In general, we say if you're working up to 20 hours per week, take 12 to 15 units. I would err on the side of 12 if you're working 20 hours, especially with all of our courses being online. If you're working more than 40 hours per week, we really recommend that you don't take more than 6 units. If you're working full-time and you try to go to school full-time, especially with these online classes, that could be difficult. We really recommend that you do 6 units if you're working full-time. Yeah, it tends to work out better and you'll have better grades. We'd much rather see a student take less units and get higher grades than overexert themselves and take 18 units while working 35 hours a week and get all C's or get C's and D's and have to repeat courses. That's definitely not a good approach to going through our major. Online classes, so like I'd mentioned, almost every single class that you're going to be taking this fall will be an online class. The only exception may be if you're in like a science lab or if you're taking like a dance class or something like that. Those may be in person, but 99.9% of our classes are going to be online. So organization and self-discipline are definitely key. Definitely keep a planner. It can be paper or electronic. Schedule time for asynchronous classes and set reminders and alarms. So I haven't mentioned asynchronous versus synchronous classes yet. So when you go to search for your classes online today, you'll see that most of the classes will be online. However, if they have a date and time underneath the information in the class, that means that even though it's an online class, you have to be available during that time. So for example, if you take Finance 101 Tuesday, Thursday from 3 p.m. to 4:15 p.m., you have to be available during that time, even though it's an online class. And the reasons for that is the professor may want to give tests during that time. They may want to have some sort of online group discussion, just a variety of different things. So if it has a date and a time under the class, it is a synchronous online class. Synchronous meaning that it's at a certain time on certain days, and that repeats every week until the end of the school semester. Certain classes are going to be asynchronous though, and they will have TBA underneath their date and time. So if you see an online class that says TBA under the date and time, that's your clue to know that it's an asynchronous course. This is what you think of with a typical online course. There's no set time that you have to be at your computer. You can do your work at 2 in the morning. You can do your work at 2 in the afternoon. It doesn't matter. There's no set time associated with the class. So just know that there's asynchronous and synchronous classes, and when you're going to register, you'll have to keep that in mind. But once again, if it has a timestamp, that is the time you have to be available. And the system won't let you enroll for more than one class at that specific time. So don't worry about like registering for 2 classes at the same time. The system won't let you do that. It will give you an error. Communication is the second part. So that's really important for your success in your online courses. Reach out to your faculty early and often. You can even start reaching out to them. If you know the faculty is teaching the course, you can reach out starting today. If there's anything that you need to start thinking about before the class starts. Set up a system and routine to manage your email. This is super important. All of our correspondence to students, 99.9% of it is through email. And typically what we do, and most departments on campus will do, is they will actually email you to your Sac State email address. So you will want to set up some sort of system where you can monitor your Sac State email. My suggestion is put it into your smartphone's default mail app, or download Outlook, the Outlook app, and sync it to your Sac State email and enable push notifications, because even though you may get a bunch of notifications, it's really important to stay on top of your email. You're going to get email from financial aid. You're going to get email from us. You're going to get email from your professors. There's just all types of emails that you're going to get. And we have so many students where we say, hey, we emailed you 3 weeks ago about this issue, and then they finally get it, or they never got the email, and there's nothing we can do at that point. So definitely set up a system to manage your email. And then I skipped over this with the last bullet point, but your faculty all have virtual office hours. So even though it's an online class, your faculty will be required to have some sort of online virtual time through Zoom or through whatever, where you can log in and ask them questions. If you're struggling in a class, or if you just want to get more information, check your syllabus in the class, and it will have, should have your faculty office hours, and it should have how to contact them. And then the last one is just take advantage of free tutoring. Like I mentioned before, we have free peer tutoring for all of our, most of our required business courses, both lower and upper division, and even some concentration courses, especially in accounting. So we do have free peer tutoring. Take advantage of that in the fall. Like I said, it's through Zoom. We hire a bunch of tutors, and they're there to help you. So use the resources that are there for you. All right, we are almost done, I promise. Stay connected with us. So BizList is on page 32. That is in your guidebook. And I had mentioned this before when I was talking about our events. BizList is a great way for us to stay in contact with you. It's an old school email listserv. All you have to do is just put in your email address, and then we will send you any information about upcoming internships, scholarship info, events, giveaways. Like I said, we give away a ton of food. Even though it's going to be online only, what we did this semester is we did gift cards basically for DoorDash. So we gave, I think, up to $15 per student for DoorDash, or maybe it was 10. Anyway, the best way to get that information is to be on BizList. So definitely sign up for that. You guys are all in the major especially, so you really want to be on BizList so we can communicate with you in the easiest way possible. We also have a Facebook group. If anyone still uses Facebook, I don't know, but if you have an old account that you haven't logged into in a while, you may want to log in and join our Sac State Business Advising group. It is a private group, so you'll need your student ID number for us to verify you. And then Jamie, one of our other advisors, runs that group. So it's a great way just to talk to other students, or, there's a bunch of alumni on there as well. Maybe to get a student perspective, what class should I take? Like, what's your experience with this class, and that kind of stuff. So consider joining that. And then we're also on Instagram at CBA Biz Students. We post a lot on Instagram. Instagram has a lot of our event stuff as well. So definitely consider following us on Instagram to stay up to date with our information. All right, so let's see here. Next slide is going to be how you can stay in contact with us. So the email address is cba-ugrad@csus.edu. This email address was in a previous slide on the ADT information slide, but this is the email address where you can stay in contact with us and get any questions answered. If you email this email address, it actually goes to me, and then I'll filter it, either answer your question or forward it to the correct advisor. This is where you'll need to email your transcripts with your ADT conferral, like I had mentioned before. But in general, email is the best way to get a hold of us at this point. That picture is our front door in Tahoe Hall on campus. It's closed. It's probably going to be closed through the fall semester. Our telephone number is listed there as well, but our telephone is actually not active right now. So the best way to get a hold of us is to email us. You can also go to our website, csus.edu/CBA/OSE, and you can find our Zoom office hours there. But once again, just if you want to try to memorize it, it's Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., at least throughout the rest of the summer. So that's the easiest way to stay connected with us. We have a bunch of different ways that you can contact us and meet with us. We are, one of the few departments that we do have Zoom office hours, and it's at a regular time every day, Monday through Friday. So we are available for you if you have any questions going forward. So this is a picture of graduation. That's the Guy West Bridge. It's kind of a miniature Golden Gate. It's on campus, and it kind of goes over to a different street and some student housing apartments. So what kind of the plan from here on out, this is effectively the end of the presentation. We will be here in this room probably until about 3:15 or so to answer any questions that you might have. So another 20 minutes or so. And then starting at 3:30 until 4:30, we will be on the CBA advising room. So that is our typical room for drop-ins. We're going to close down this around 3:15, and then we'll reopen our CBA advising room at 3:30. And all you have to do is just go on Zoom. There's no numbers for this one. Just type in CBA advising under the room that you want to join, and then you'll join our advising room there. So in general, what we want to do from here on out is any general questions that you have, go ahead and use your raise hand feature. But please keep in mind that make sure your question is a general question. If it's super having to do with your individual situation, that's better for later on today at 3:30 when we can meet with you one-on-one. Also, we can only answer business related questions in this room and later today. So if you have questions about your GE, you have to check with your orientation leader. If you have questions about your financial aid, you'd have to go to financial aid. If you have questions about, insert whatever, you'd have to go to that department. We can help you out with business courses today, but past that, we can't really do anything else in this room or in our later room. All right, so.
Okay, Brandon, let me pull some, can I pull some stuff from the chat before we go to raised hands? Yeah, okay, yeah. If you're done, if you have all the information you need about business, your next step right now is to go back to checking in with your orientation leader, the same place you were first thing this morning, and they're gonna walk you through registration. So if you have any questions about how do I find these classes in the class search, I still don't know about GE, you need to connect with your orientation leader at 3 o'clock back in that original room. So if you are all good, you're welcome to take off from here. We've had a lot of questions in the chat about, do I need MIS? Do I need Math 24? These are really specific questions to your situation. Everyone, if we knew you were coming today in the last 48 hours, you should have gotten an email from myself, Jamie, Brandon, or Maria with some documents regarding your file and where you are. And if you have questions about that, please just respond directly to that email so that we can do the research. We're not going to be looking them up individually here. We have 200 people in the room. So if you have questions about whether you've met MIS or Math 24, or if you still need to submit transcripts, it's best to email an advisor directly with that. All right, and it looks like Ariana has her hand raised. We'll start with you. You can just unmute yourself.
Sorry. I have a question about changing your concentration. I got the form, but I didn't see where I'm supposed to submit it.
It goes to the same email address, CBA-UGrad. It should be on that form. If not, it's just the same email address that most of our correspondents go to, CBA-UGrad@csus.edu.
It's on the screen now, so you can just email it there.
And one thing to know is your declared concentration doesn't restrict you from enrolling in classes from other concentrations. So we did have a question earlier. One gal was admitted into accountancy, but she wants to do finance. That's fine. You can register in classes for whichever concentration you want to do today, and we just take care of the paperwork later on.
Okay.
All right, Tanya, did you have a question?
Yeah, I must have missed it. When you were talking about submitting the transcripts for for proof of the ADT, you said the conferral. Where do I find that form.
Which community college are you from?
Sac City.
Okay, so Sac City generally has it at the very, very top of your unofficial transcript. It will have your plan or your major or your degree, and then it will have a conferral date, but it may not be posted yet. That's the thing.
Mine's posted. Mine's posted. I was just thinking I had to submit a separate form along with the transcripts.
Sorry,
just submit the transcripts.
Absolutely, yeah. Just submit your unofficial transcripts, and that's the easiest way for us to verify your ADT.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Yep,
okay. Thank you so much.
No problem.
And we have Michaela. It looks like you have a question. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
I was just wondering, so we're going from here to right now to go ahead and register and back to our original Zoom conference to meet with our orientation leader. And then somebody was thinking about 3:30 coming back to here, or how do we come back here to ask?
If you have questions, so only if you need clarification on anything or need help with registering in your business classes, you can join us in our Zoom address, which is just CBA Advising. We're going to be online from 3:30 to 4:30 to kind of help you troubleshoot if you have any issues with business registration.
Okay, and that's not the same link, correct? It's something different?
Right, so we're putting it up now. So basically you go into Zoom, and where you would put a meeting ID, you just put CBA Advising, and it's just the name, the user ID for our room, and it'll take you right in.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Sure.
No problem. Avery, do you have a question?
Yeah, we were looking at the upper division major requirements on page 9, like DS 101, Finance 101, Marketing 101, all that. Are those the only classes that are absolutely required from upper division for graduation, or are there more?
No, so you're required to do the entire core, which is those 8 classes, and at least 1 concentration. So we don't have a degree without a concentration. So you do those 8 upper division classes, you pick at least 1 concentration, which is 18 to 24 units, and then you have your 9 units of upper division GE.
Okay.
Thanks, Avery. All right, anyone else have questions? Go ahead and just use the raise hand feature. Like Jamie mentioned, if you're done and don't have any questions, you feel free to leave, and we will. You can go back to your original orientation room from this morning. Nathan, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have my unofficial transcript from ARC, but I can't seem to find where it says I have my degree completed.
So for ARC, they list them at the top of the transcript. So just under your personal information, before it starts listing your classes, it says programs completed, and the degree would be posted under there. Okay. So if you don't have anything there yet, it may not be there.
Yeah, I don't see it. So
yeah, I mean, it does take, usually some schools, it takes them through July to post all the degrees.
Okay, all right, thank you.
No problem. Avery, another question?
Yeah, on the slide where you said we have to email the math department if we need to enroll in Math 24, it says attach like your unofficial transcript, your student ID, and your first and second choice. What do you mean by first and second choice?
So like if you're missing Math 24, there's multiple sections of Math 24. So you would tell them like, okay, like if you can enroll me, please put me in this one as my first choice. And if that one doesn't work or it fills up or something like that, make sure you at least have a second choice on there so they know in case the first one doesn't work for whatever reason that you can add into the second one.
Okay, thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I taking the class on this summer and finish on the October 5th. So I submit the transcript not now or after class.
Is the class required for your associate's degree?
ADT degree, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're getting your ADT at the end of summer, I mean, send us a transcript now just so we can see what you finished in the spring, but we'll need the official transcript or the unofficial transcript with your degree posted at the end of the summer term.
Oh, okay. So I still have to submit my transcript right now, right?
You know, it's kind of up to you. If it's hard to do, then you can wait until you have all your final grades for summer. But all we need is an unofficial or just a copy of what you have, so we can make sure we're up to speed on what you finished. But if you're not getting your ADT at the end of summer, then we actually don't need the unofficial until the end of summer, when that degree is posted.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, the ADT, with the ADT, if we don't get your ADT, we'll email you because we have a list. And so we're going through each day, taking students off the list of ADTs that we've gotten confirmed. You know, if we don't hear from you by like mid-July, we're going to start emailing you for proof of the ADT.
And if, for those of you who are finishing up a class in the summer, obviously we have to be a little more flexible with that. Just be aware that if for whatever reason your degree is not posted, by the time September rolls around, you're going to be changed to pre-business status, to expressed interest, and you're going to have to reapply. So if you know for a fact you're not going to be finishing your degree, you need to get in touch with us as soon as possible so we can talk about your next steps. All right, looks like we're wrapping up.
One more, Jamie.
One more? Okay.
Eileen? Is that right?
Hi, it's Eileen.
Eileen, I'm sorry.
No
Go ahead.
Just following up on the Math 24 requirement, you said we could email with the other options besides that if they were full. Could we find those on the MySec State, or where would we
are you talking about the list of Math 24 sections that are open? Yeah. You can find that on the class search. If you just type in math and then 24 is the number, it will give you all the sections. Last I checked, there were like 2, I think, or 3 that were still open. Okay. And there are some that are closed. So I would avoid the ones that are closed and try to find one that's open to get yourself registered in.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Chase, do you have a question?
Yeah, quick question. We're supposed to be joining back with our morning session, right? So same Zoom link that we got for the original orientation?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. He just hadn't started it yet. I was making sure that I had the correct link. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you all for your time today, by the way. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
No welcome
Thank
to
you.
Sec State.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
You too.
Okay. Well, we're going to wrap up now. And if you do have follow-up questions, we'll be in our main Zoom advising room at 3:30. Otherwise, check in with your orientation leader and get registered.